Good morning, participants of the Malaysian Music Education Conference 2024. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Malaysian Music Education Association for inviting me to be the keynote of this conference. I'm excited to share my thoughts with you and look forward to an interactive Q&A session. I begin this keynote by sharing with you the very first song I created with the help of AI. I will talk more about this later.
Malaysia food love will grow. Woke up in the morning, sun is shining bright. Heading to the market, colors in my sight. Now see lemon calling sambal with a spice. Coconut rice and pandan, everything so nice. Roti canai flipping in the morning haze. Tertiary pulling sets my heart ablaze. Satay on the fire, peanuts are so sweet. Malaysian flavors can't be beat. Malaysia, your food's a melody, a symphony of taste in a perfect harmony. From the streets of Penang to the shores of Langkawi, every bite's a journey, come along with me.
In his keynote titled Orchestrating Key Change during the 2023 Southeast Asian Directors of Music Congress, SEDM, Dr. Robert Kutieta highlighted that without fundamental change, traditional music departments, schools, and conservatoires could face declining enrollments if sophisticated high school students were to seek music career outside the often verified environment and curricular career characteristics of Americans' college and universities. In 2022, New York University had closed its music education program, stating that music teaching and learning now often occur outside the classroom, in cultural institutions, community centers, and libraries. While our program historically focused on training teachers for New York City schools, we want to expand our mission to reflect the changing field and to give students the ability to explore related areas such as music technology, music therapy, and arts administration. Although one might think these trends in the US would not impact Malaysia, that is not the case. In 2023, University Science Malaysia's music degree program at the School of Arts took a 1-year break to transition from a 4-year to a 3-year curriculum, re-evaluating its approaches due to a drop in music student enrollment post-COVID-19. When I was asked to give this keynote, I started to consider the reasons behind the declining enrollments in university music degree programs. Some factors include decline in enrollment. Many musically talented students do not fulfill the additional entry requirement of a grade 5 level in ABRSM theory and practice. Teaching approaches. The conventional content in music degree programs and teaching approaches need to be reconsidered. Job prospects. Many graduates seem to lack the performance and music production skills required for the music industry and the needs of the multi-ethnic communities in Malaysia. Kuzwazi and Bakken suggests that the rigidity of academic music education could hinder the profession from embracing popular music and digital media. We may need to reconsider the ways that musicians are prepared and educated in academia, as it seems like our very own music orientations may be the very thing that is stifling the profession from adapting and adopting popular music and digital media into our learning and teaching approaches. It seems that people want to teach the ways they were taught and ignore new developments. They recapitulate their own learning in their practices rather than become innovators. In this keynote, I present some definitions and models of sustainability. I then proposed a model of sustainability for music education in Malaysia. In doing so, I will compare whether the music relevant to contemporary Malaysians are taught in the music curriculum of national primary and secondary schools. Identify issues in the implementation of the music curriculum. Recommend solutions. The O'Riordan model prioritizes sustainability through the overlapping of three areas: economic, social, and environmental. The Elkington model emphasizes the nested dependence of economic prosperity, social, people, and environmental planet systems, indicating that a healthy economy relies on social well-being, which in turn depends on the sustainability of the environment. Titan in 2009 advocates for an ecology of music, where factors like cultural rights, music ownership, circulation, conservation, community roles, and partnerships contribute to musical sustainability. Shippers in 2016 highlights the importance of 5 domains of music that interact to form a sustainable ecosystem for music heritage: systems of music, music and communities, contexts and constructs, regulations and infrastructure and media, and the music industry. From my perspective, the sustainability of music education depends on its relevance to the creative ways in which music functions to support human activities in changing times. I will now examine current existing music in Malaysia through social relevance, technological competence, cultural inclusion, and economic viability. I then compare whether this music is emphasized in primary school standard curriculum, KSSR, secondary school standard curriculum, KSSM. From major to massive evolution. In the late 19th century, technological breakthroughs began to transform how humans produce and consume music, leading to greater diversity and eclecticism. The beginning of the major revolution in music began with the creation of the gramophone in 1887. We are now at a point of massive evolution with the emergence of AI.
That song was made using this tool right here, Sovit's SVC. SVC stands for Singer Voice Conversion, and it does just that. You upload an audio file and then essentially it just turns that audio file into a different voice. I can tell you now the interface for this tool is a bit confusing. It's not user-friendly at all. But if you have the patience, you can definitely make something really special. Here's a vocal sample that I found.
I'ma bust it, I'ma hit, I'ma have to bust the clip.
I uploaded it to SVC to make it sound more like Drake. And then after converting it, this is how it sounds now.
I'ma bust it, I'ma hit, I'ma have to bust the clip.
I mean, that does definitely sound like Drake. And now with a little bit of mixing, a bit of tools on there, and a beat underneath it, we have a Drake song.
I'ma bust it, I'ma hit, I'ma have to bust the clip. I'ma bust it, I'ma hit, I'ma have to bust the clip.
That actually sounds quite sick. Next up on my
Generation Z, or Gen Z, born between the mid-1990s and early 2000s, are digital natives who grew up with the internet, smartphones, and social media. They are technologically savvy, adept at sourcing information online, and skilled at multitasking. They prefer practical skills relevant to the job market and often have shorter attention spans due to the exposure to fast-paced and bite-sized information. According to Green in 2018, Gen Z has diverse and eclectic musical tastes, but limited interaction with classical music due to non-musical attitudes and values. Breisler, in 2023, found that many Gen Z individuals aged between 18 to 24 appreciate a variety of musical styles, including both classical and modern music. Given this, innovative frameworks for teaching classical music are necessary to bridge the gap between popular and classical genres. Omor in 2021 reports that Gen Z piano students in Turkey tend to be impatient, with high self-confidence but low self-awareness. They often struggle with criticism, lose motivation easily, and prefer faster-paced learning. According to a music teacher from a private institution in Malaysia, these days, parents inform music teachers to teach their children to play the popular music they like. Do not stress them to practice difficult classical music pieces. Just let them enjoy playing music. And Yo in 2002 indicated that Malaysian teenagers show a strong preference for non-ethnic related music, especially popular music. Shahanul Muhammad Shah in 2006 reported that the musical preferences of young Malaysians were shaped through informal education. James in 2018 stated that music performance students had the highest preference for both popular music and Western classical music compared to students in other disciplines. The global musical landscape experienced by Gen Z, ranging from classical to traditional, hip-hop, electronic dance music, K-pop and more, are shaping their eclectic musical tastes. Future musical trends will feature a dynamic blend of classical, popular and traditional genres. Classical music will continue to attract only niche audiences and specific segments of the community. The current Malaysian Primary School Standard Curriculum, KSSR, shows flexibility to cater to the needs of Gen Z. The KSSR divides the curriculum into 4 modules: 10% on music literacy, 40% on musical skills, 40% on creativity, and 10% on musical appreciation, aligning with expectations of this generation. The weightage in percentage offers considerable flexibility for music educators to customize their content and teaching methods to meet the preferences of Gen Z. In the domain of music literacy, which is 10%, students engage with musical elements by interpreting and creating musical notation. There is even no stipulation mandating that the notation taught must adhere strictly to Western music conventions. This flexibility allows for learning non-Western musical notation. Regarding modules on musical skills, which is 40%, and musical creativity, another 40%, there's a strong emphasis on practical application, involving activities such as singing, movement to music, instrument playing, and music composition. In the realm of music appreciation, 10%, learners are encouraged to explore a diverse range of music, including both local and global genres. They are prompted to listen attentively and respond both verbally and in written form. In essence, KSSR allows the flexibility to adapt content and instructional approaches that resonate with Gen Z. Due to the strong influence of European education, most music education programs in Asian countries, such as Malaysia, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, Korea, Philippines are founded on Western classical music. During the 18th and 19th centuries, Westernization and modernization swept across Asia, coupled with its scientific technology, created the connotation that European music was superior, while traditional music was not sophisticated. Western music is grounded in formal learning approaches through textbooks, modules, and music notation literacy, while popular music requires the informal learning approach. According to Guazasis and Bakken, our profession requires a cataclysmic shift from dictating curricula and curriculum content from the 1950s, meaningless to the majority of youth for at least the past 40 years. Rygalski, in 2007, hints at what may be the biggest problem that the profession needs to overcome: the serious diet of classical music and classical music study at all levels of music education. By severely limiting what constitutes good music and permitting only limited forms of music making for future music educators, our teaching institutions isolate themselves from the realities of the 21st century music that are founded upon numerous forms of popular music that have been the core of youth music making and music listening for at least the past 80 years. The ongoing endemic apotheosis of Western classical music and traditional school music must cease immediately if music educators are to remain relevant. Formal music education emphasizes presentational music, but popular and traditional music are based on participatory music. Participatory music has dense texture, which allows for a broader spectrum of ability levels, whereas presentational music makes wrong notes stand out, thus limiting participation of inexperienced players. The outcome of popular and traditional music is always in process. They take on new life based on the different combinations of musicians in a group. Therefore, learning popular and traditional music in formal settings may stifle their creativity and fluidity. To make music education relevant to Gen Z and the emerging Gen A, music educators must integrate both informal and formal learning approaches. They need to deconstruct their traditional Western classical training and adopt a variety of educational approaches. By creatively combining the best aspects of formal and informal learning, music educators can develop a more well-rounded and holistic musician among their students. Muhammad Hassan Abdullah notes that public schools are agents in promoting traditional music and restoring national heritage. He emphasizes that students tend to enjoy their own traditional music more than others because they can relate to it. Thus, schools should be encouraged to offer various types of traditional music based on their interests and expertise. Additionally, introducing music from different cultures can bridge gaps between groups and foster a more harmonious coexistence. Ethnic values are embedded in traditional musical activities of Malaysia. Learning traditional music imparts cultural values to students. For example, the interlocking rhythms in kompang, rebana, kulintangan, and gong ensembles of Sabah and Sarawak demonstrate the value of teamwork and togetherness. The lion dance in Chinese culture requires musicians to interact with dancers, emphasizing collaboration and mobility. The 24 festive drums, 24节令鼓, promotes discipline, hard work, coordination, and team spirit. Carnatic vocal and instrumental music explores a variety of microtonal pitches and vocal techniques. Every performance depends on the musicians that interact in improvisation, consequently encouraging spontaneity and creativity. Although some musical traditions require sophisticated skills, there are also amateur groups that perform for recreational events. In this context, children are not learning music solely for stage performances, but as a way to engage with the community through cultural activities. Music is learned through rote learning, listening, observing, and imitating, allowing for dynamic and adaptable performances. Unlike Western music, emphasis is not placed on memorization, but mobility in adapting to different singers, musicians, location, and time. The music of the Malaysian embody the characteristics of the people, one who is spontaneous, interactive, flexible, mobile, and responds to in tandem to the situation.
2, 3. Don't serious. Tawa je. Ready, 3, and.
Primary School Music Education, KSSR, aims to produce students with knowledge and basic skills in music, fostering harmonious, critical, creative, and innovative individuals who can appreciate the aesthetic values of diverse cultures. The Secondary School Music Education, KSSM, encourages students to play various genres of music, applying knowledge gained through notation, reading, and writing. Teachers are encouraged to choose musical ensembles that fit their expertise and their school's unique environment. Here are some of the suggested musical ensembles in KSSM. Numerous challenges arise when incorporating traditional music into formal educational settings. Teaching it through conventional methods like music notation and textbooks risks stifling its dynamic nature and ability to engage with its community. Instead, I suggest that music educators involve culture barriers to facilitate learning and create an environment conducive to traditional music education. Additionally, encouraging students to document their experiences and insights gained from culture barriers using their influencer abilities. Attempts at music notation can enrich their understanding and appreciation of traditional music. One of the ways that music educators in Malaysia can cultivate the skills mentioned are learning music from culture barriers and respecting their teaching approaches and diverse tonal systems and rhythms. Bring a culture barrier into residence and organize field trips to the kampong and music associations to play music together with the communities surrounding them. This will also encourage the sustainability of Malaysian musical heritages, as well as strengthen the relationship among the diverse cultures in Malaysia. Traditional teachers do not teach. Students learn from listening and observing the teacher. If they cannot follow the teacher, they learn from their peers. On learning the Japanese shakuhachi, Tremios in 1989 stated that the teacher seldom identifies the error but waits until the phrase is played correctly and then expresses approval. This culture of learning may not be suitable for the more westernized Gen Z. A music educator can mobilize discussions between culture bearers, teachers, and students to bridge the gap in understanding cultural values through traditional teaching approaches. While learning traditional music provides a foundation for understanding different cultural values, diverse musical elements, and others, the student is still reiterating what they learn. Jura states that creativity is in a way out of this cultural impasse, generated by the impact of new ideas on firmly held practices. Creativity is the reworking of old material, restatement of ideas, and reshaping of known information. I recommend at a point of time where the students can gather all their different musical skills and technique that they learned from culture bearers to create a new musical piece. The music can be a standalone musical piece or one that accompanies the story that they created.
Georgetown sangat ulu. Seluruh pulau ditumbuhi paya bakau. Tapi British sangat inginkan sebuah pelabuhan. Kota kami Georgetown menjadi pilihan. Boria kita ni. Kita flow. Nak cepat. Francis like mendapat pinang dari kedai, melalui janjian dengan raja. Buruh dibawa dari India untuk bina jalan dan rumah kita.
Kenapa hands percussion perlu mengangkat budaya Melayu ataupun bergabung dengan budaya Melayu? Apa yang hands percussion buat pada kali ini adalah menggabungkan drum dengan influence tradisional, okey, mengangkat pula epik ataupun cerita tradisional daripada budaya Melayu. Apabila menggabungkan dua elemen ini bertembung daripada dua masyarakat dan dua budaya, itu akan lebih membuka mata masyarakat luar, mengenal budaya kita dengan lebih akrab. Kita tahu kekuatan negara kita Malaysia ada pelbagai kaum budaya. Bagaimana orang nak mengenal tradisi, kita harus membawa sesuatu budaya itu ke depan dan dipertontonkan kepada masyarakat. Dan bila kolaborasi rentak itu bergabung, bukankah ianya boleh menghasilkan satu ciptaan yang lagi indah?
Want USD dollars. So let's try to play some songs. Let's try my most favorite song from Viability. Slap. Instrument, bass, guitar. Difficulty, expert. Let's start. It's your turn. The future of bass is in your hands. Slap like, say slap and subscribe. Do it now. What happened? If I do too many mistakes, I'm just gonna fail. The song will stop. Unacceptable. Let's try again. Do it now. At least.
In addition to streaming music online, there are online karaoke backing recordings such as MusEd' that provides diverse selections of songs across different genres for users to sing along with other users online. MusEd' purchases tracks from licensed music providers, original recordings, or they have their own in-house creation team. Here is an opportunity for music arrangers. I present my MusEd' experiment, a duet with Afgan, a famous Indonesian singer.
Aku yang tak bisa melepaskan kamu yang menggenggam hatiku, walau mungkin terlalu cepat bagi kita berdua untuk mengatakan selamanya kita akan bersama.
Today, many content creators, YouTubers, TikTokers require royalty-free music to accompany their blogs. Free versions can be accessed through SoundCloud or YouTube Audio, but most libraries such as Epidemic Sound or Envato Element are not free. These are opportunities for composers to create music for content creators. On a question of whether large income can be earned from creating music for online streaming, Nazimi Nazri says that not that many people are going to make good money from creating music for vloggers or MusEd' karaoke. This is because the royalty for every streaming is small. You would need a million and billions of streaming to achieve at least $100 to $300 a month. We are now well into the end of the first quarter of the 21st century. Music education still has not caught up with the early 21st century. And now we are into another humongous phenomenon, that has already created an evolution in the way music is consumed and produced. I now invite you to refresh your memory of the song I played at the beginning of this keynote. It was made with the Suno I application. The way we access, interact with, perform, listen to, and create music has undergone a radical shift. There is now a barely discernible line between a music listener as a passive audience member and a music listener who actively becomes an arranger. This is largely due to the greater accessibilities of music-making tools that enables a shorter learning curve for creating and remixing music. Currently, and in future, composing music will not necessarily require Western music composition skills. Additionally, future jobs would require technology and digital skills, such as music production and recording, involving digital audio stations, recording techniques, and music production. 2. Sound design and engineering, teaching sound design for various media, including film, video games, and virtual reality. 3. Creating software, music software and apps, including coding for music applications. Considering the ubiquitous and accessible nature of musical activities in this digital age, it is crucial for music educators to support the music-related endeavors, the professional versus amateur, the public versus hobbyists, both within and outside of schools. The music educator can learn together with the students by encouraging them to explore current digital applications. The music industry in Malaysia has high potential to generate income to the country. The exposure to the music industry through education is very important, as it is the biggest phenomenon in music consumption and production today. Gen Z learn diverse music genres through the internet. These digital natives are very eclectic compared to their music educators who are digital immigrants. Zaharul Lailidin in 2013 states that the schools should cultivate well-rounded and intellectual students that are balanced in artistic and scientific pursuits. The potential of the creative industry should commence at school level and extend through higher education. The means to produce music and promote oneself as a singer or musician have changed dramatically. A young artist no longer needs to win competitions or perform at live bands in public to gain recognition. The DIY approach allows musicians to record music on high-quality audiovisual equipment and then stream it through platforms like Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Music, and others. The extra audiovisual effects are often what differentiates musicians in the crowded online music scene. I present a short excerpt of the music of Azmir Yuno, who is an independent musician and also a music lecturer at Sunway University.
Hidup ni singkat, sesingkat ini skirt. Jangan salah sangka, aku bukan pervert. Ini tugas aku, I'm on duty. I'm scolding si pemerhati. Aku memang cekap bila jaga tepi kain orang, mata-mata. The name's name, scolding. Rumi dan Juli, kau nikmati. Taman Tasik Perdana Titi Wangsa KLCC. Kalau tak nak kena kantor, jangan projek kat sini.
According to Nazmi Nazri in 2024, in order to make money in the music industry, one has to be entrepreneurial as one cannot depend on one source of income. Some of the ways to earn income is to provide services such as live band events, compose soundtrack and sound design for film and drama. One can also be a recording artist, recording engineer, sessionist for recording, and a technician for musician, which is only selected from a music background to cover up the artist's work they are working for. In summary, the KSSR and KSSM curriculum has been quite futuristic. The curriculum has been designed to be flexible and allow music educators to integrate the current musical trends into education. The curriculum emphasizes less on written tests but encourages the development of musical creativity and performance through practical approaches. The Ministry of Higher Education and Ministry of Education has surged forward with these visions. They have recommended 21st century teaching approaches such as student-centered learning, flipped classroom, game-based learning, challenge-based learning, and others to diversify teaching and learning. However, the universities, institutions, and schools offering music have not really caught up. Today, it is not about the lack of knowledge or skills that hinder the flourishing of music in the music education panorama in Malaysia. It is about the creative skills of the teacher to bring musical knowledge into the classroom. The music educator must move beyond their Western musical training to embrace different ways of conceptualizing and transmitting music. The role of the educator has changed today. We are no longer transmitters of knowledge. We are facilitators of knowledge. Knowledge is ubiquitous. Children have access to content, but not necessarily an in-depth understanding of the cultural value and aesthetics of the rich musical environment surrounding them. This is what the music educators, the digital immigrants, possess. Edwards, Gandini, and Forman, 1993, presented the Reggio Emilia approach, whereby children as active participants in creating their own knowledge. This theory redefines the role of adults in education, positioning them as collaborators with children rather than traditional authority figures. In its approach, both adults and children contribute equally to the learning process, and parents are closely involved in the shaping of the curriculum. The Reggio classroom is more like a studio or workshop where teachers take on the roles of researchers and children engage with a vibrant and creative environment. Let us look back at our parents and grandparents. They have the skills of spontaneity, flexibility, mobility, and creative improvisation in problem solving. Before our generation, my generation, knowledge was primarily transmitted through experiential, lifelong enculturation, rather than textbooks and standardized tests. The skills and techniques of our predecessors, which emphasize practical experience, are resurging among Gen Z. Many of the essential abilities needed to thrive in today's world are rooted in the knowledge possessed by our ancestors. As digital immigrants, we were raised to believe that the correct music was solely derived from flawlessly memorizing sheet music. Consequently, we often hesitate to embrace trial and error or engage in improvisation due to fear of making mistakes. The music educator today may not have all the musical skills, techniques, and experiences that the internet has opened up to digital natives. However, the music educators have knowledge in Western music, and they also have a more intimate experience of traditional and popular music from the late 20th century until now. These social and cultural experiences related to the music are embodied in the digital immigrants, whereas digital natives are exposed to many choices of music they can listen to based on their musical aesthetics. However, they may have no memories of the pain, longing, heartbrokenness, as well as happiness related to these numerous songs. Music educators experiment with AI with the Western music understanding. Digital natives will use AI through their exposure to local and global sound aesthetics. Their minds will be wired differently when they compose music. If music educators fail to balance between the way they were taught with the approaches suitable for Gen Z, there is a chance that music education could return to where it continues to thrive, within cultural associations, communities, and religious groups. To ensure the sustainability of music education in schools, it is imperative that all music educators embrace the music relevant to the Malaysian communities, be socially relevant, technologically competent, culturally inclusive, and economically viable. Thank you to listening to my keynote. I look forward to questions and suggestions from you.